Hello, Chris Word in First Business Rescue. Okay, today it's going to be a bit of a longer video. I'm going to warn you, but I'm going to explain the different ways you can close a limited company, because there's obviously more than one, depending on your situation. And over the next certainly 12 months, there's going to be lots of people who need this advice. And it can be quite confusing when you're searching online of how to close your company. So I'm going to start with how you close your company if you have some cash left in the bank and you've paid off all your debts. If you can pay off all your debts on time, you know, HMRC are up to date, you've got a final set of accounts, all your suppliers are sorted, then you can potentially close your company via a member's voluntary liquidation. MVL, solvent liquidation is what they're also called. You still need an insolvency practitioner. You're probably going to be charged between $1,000 and $2,000 to do this. So really, you need to have more than 25 grand left in the bank to make this commercially viable for you. But if you have got more than 25 grand left in the bank, you have paid off all your debts, then a solvent liquidation will close the company, and it would probably be the most tax efficient way for you to take money out of that company. Now, it used to be called entrepreneurs relief. I'm really sorry. It's very unprofessional. The term escapes me now. It's changed, but you might also be able to qualify for a reduced tax on taking that earnings out, and you're taxed at just 10%. So if you've got more than 25 grand in the bank, you've paid off all your debts, an MVL might be for you. If you've got less than 25 grand in the bank, you're probably better just withdrawing the funds and paying the relevant tax on that. Obviously, again, make sure your accounts are up to date, deregister for VAT with HMRC, and you will take all your money out and you will dissolve the company via a DSO1 form at Companies House. I'm going to talk about dissolving companies now. So there are companies out there that will charge you anywhere from between £500 to £2,000, I heard the other day, to dissolve your company. You do not need to pay that money. You can do this yourself, but ask a few questions first. Have you got any debts? Has the business got any debts? Does it owe HMRC? Does it owe a bounce back loan? If you do, it's highly likely you're not going to be able to strike that company off. If you've taken a bounce back loan, you're definitely not going to be able to strike that company off, because when you put your DSO1 form in, the bank are going to have a little tracker on your company, and it's going to go, oh, Mr. Bank, ABC Limited are trying to dissolve the company and they owe you 25 grand, and the bank will object to your strike-off application, okay? You use the dissolution process when you've never traded or you've got no debts, the company's never got off the ground. And what you do is you fill in a DSO1 form, you register it with Companies House, it costs you £10, and inside 3 months, the company should be dissolved. But it will be advertised. And if you owe HMRC, if you owe the bank, if you owe suppliers, if you owe investors, they're going to see that you've tried to strike the company off, and they'll object to the strike off, okay? Now, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit. If you've got no cash in the business, you have no assets, and you have not taken a bounce back loan, and you've got no hope of recovery, the business isn't working, you just can't get yourself out of the mire, or you don't have any appetite to, you might want to try writing to your creditors. It could be HMRC, could be some suppliers, and letting them know that there's nothing in the company, there's no cash, there's no assets, and you would like to try and strike the company off via a DSO1 form. But say to the creditor, if you'd prefer, by all means, you can pay to liquidate me. Now, most creditors, if they've got no hope of getting any money out of you or the business, they're not going to pay the thousands of pounds to liquidate you. So that is an option, but it's not for everybody. Now, I've been getting a lot of inquiries recently of people who need to liquidate. They've taken a bounce back loan, the OHMRC, the Matto suppliers, and they're absolutely skint. They've got no money in the till. They've got no money owed in. They've got no assets to sell. They're not entitled to a director's redundancy claim. And they're like, Chris, what do I do? And they're in a tough position because really, if you've got debts, certainly if you owe a bounce back loan, you have to, if you're insolvent, your only option is to liquidate. Now, if you do it voluntarily, it's normally a better outcome for you. That's where you choose an insolvency practitioner, you pay him the money, sort of $4 to $5 grand to liquidate, the business goes into liquidation, the unsecured debts are written off. But what if you've not got the money? So some people are going to wait to be compulsory liquidated. Now, what that means is you've got no money, you've not been able to raise the funds personally, and you just wait for one of your creditors to wind you up. Now, HMRC aren't really doing it at the moment, and the banks aren't doing it at the moment. So you're still going to have to deal with all the debt collection, enforcement agents. But if you literally have nothing, you cannot afford to liquidate, you can't raise any funds, that's probably what you're going to have to do. When you do a compulsory liquidation, you get issued a winding up petition, your bank account disappears a couple of days later, you get your day in court. And if you don't repay the creditor who's petitioned to wind you up on the day in court, then your company is wound up. The official receiver will get the job. You'll have to have an interview as to why why you've let it get to this stage. But the reality is, some people have no other choice. They're on the breadline, they're struggling to feed the kids, and they can't afford to liquidate. So I suppose, listen, if you've done everything the best you can to make this company survive, but you've fallen off an edge of a cliff, that's what you got to do. You got to wait to be compulsory liquidated. I'd never advise that to people, but that's the reality. A lot of people will end up in compulsory liquidations over the coming months and years. So we've gone through an MVL. We've gone through striking a company off. We've even gone through a compulsory liquidation. If your company owes money and it's insolvent, so very quick explanation on insolvency, your debts are your liabilities are more than your assets, and you can't afford to pay your debts when they are due. What you want to really do is take insolvency advice. So if you're insolvent, it's highly likely that the best option for you, the company, you, the director, your staff, your creditors, let's not forget the creditors. It's important when you're insolvent, your decisions need to have them in the forefront of your mind. A voluntary liquidation will bring the end of the company. You'll appoint a liquidator of your choosing, and they will formally close the company. And from that point, your unsecured debts will be written off. So HMRC arrears, bounce back loans, suppliers, they all go in the liquidation. Now, if there's any assets in the company, or there's any cash left, or any money due in, your creditors may get some money back when the insolvency practitioner distributes some of those funds. But a lot of liquidations, there's no return to creditors. The liquidator gets paid, and there might not be anything else left. But it does bring an end to legal action, demands from creditors, and it allows you to get on with your life again. Obviously, you've got to pay for a liquidation. I did a post the other day. It's normally 4, 5, or 6 grand. And some people find that tough to pay. So how are you going to pay for an insolvency practitioner? Well, you can raise the money personally if you've got it and you just want to get your sort of wipe your mouth of it and go, right, I need this finishing. You can use company funds. So if there's 6 grand in the account, you can use that to pay the liquidator. If there's 3 grand in the account, you might pay 3 grand and top it up yourself personally. If you've been on the payroll for over 2 years, you can claim director redundancy. So if you've only been on it for 2 years, you probably get about, 3.5, 4.5, 5 grand perhaps. It nearly covers the cost of liquidation. If you've been in on the payroll a lot longer, I've seen a claim come out at 20 grand, so it's more than enough to pay. The average claim is 9 grand, So it's more than enough to pay a liquidator's fees and give you some money in your pocket. So yeah, if the company has any assets, a liquidator could sell those and cover their fees. So there's lots of options when you are looking at closing your limited company. It's certainly not one size fits all. So if you want to understand a little bit more about the best option for you and your business, at First Business Rescue, we offer free independent advice. We will speak to you in a non-judgmental way, tell us what's going on. All the calls are in the strictest of confidence, and we'll give you some good advice. I hope you found the video useful. Remember, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, give us a comment, give us a like, give us a share. And thank you very, very much for watching it to the end, if you have done. All the best. Have a great day. My name is Chris Worden, and I'm from First Business Rescue. Goodbye and God bless.